Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm here again with another paleo recipe. Today I am baking a banana bread coffee cake, paleo style. The only thing I'm omitting from the recipe is the pecans that would go on top with the crumb mixture because my husband does not like pecans. So I will link the recipe down below and where to get it. Again, this recipe was from the paleomg blog. She has great recipes, so don't forget to check her blog out. And let's get started. Welcome to my kitchen. Okay guys, for time, so the video is not so crazy long. I've already kind of got everything measured out here. Right here, I have it calls for 3 brown bananas mashed. Okay, I checked 2 stores, everything was green, so these are like the only yellow, not green I could find, so hopefully they'll mash okay. So I've got 3 bananas and a masher. It calls for 3 eggs, half a cup of nut butter. I have almond butter. These are organic brown eggs, by the way. And it calls for a 1/4 cup of coconut flour, and here is my coconut flour. And it calls for 1/4 cup of pure maple syrup, organic, here that is, and a teaspoon of organic vanilla extract. And in here I have 3 ingredients. On the top you can see I have half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of cinnamon there on the bottom. I have those all together just because everything dry is going to go in the bowl first. So first, let's go ahead and get our bananas mashed. Hopefully these will mash okay, since like I said, they're not brown bananas. If you don't have a masher, before I had a masher, I used to mash things with just a fork. So that will also do. You do not have to have a masher to mash your bananas. This is mashing them pretty well. I'm just pushing down and kind of turning a little. I'm going to continue mashing those. I need a hard surface to mash those. And again, you do not need a masher to mash your bananas. Excuse all the noise. So this is what they're going to look like, the consistency, kind of almost like baby food when they're all mashed. You don't want any extremely large chunks. I have some chunks, but they're not extremely large. You just don't want any huge chunks of banana in there. Just shaking off any excess from my masher. Alright, so this is the consistency your bananas will look like when they are mashed. So now first thing the recipe calls for is to mix together all the wet ingredients. So I'm going to pour into my big bowl here the 3 mashed bananas. There's a little bit there that wants to come out. I want to get every last bit of this banana in there. Okay, so we've got our 3 mashed bananas. We have 3 eggs. We have vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon again. We have a 1/4 cup of pure maple syrup. Getting every little bit of that out as well. And the last wet ingredient is our nut butter. And here I have almond butter. You can use, the recipe just says any nut butter. So cashew butter, almond butter, any kind of nut butter is fine. We just happen to have almond butter in the house. So that is what I use. Just getting any excess in there. This stuff's a bit runny, much less runny than peanut butter. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take a whisk. I like to kind of get those yolks a little just to kind of break them up. And I'm just going to kind of whisk everything together. It didn't say what to use, so I'm assuming you could use a wooden spoon as well. I just like a whisk because I like the way it's built and I feel like it really divides your ingredients up. And I'm just going to really whisk all this together until I see that it's really well combined. As you can see, I still kind of see some yellow yolk, so I'm going to keep mixing until that yellow is kind of broken up. And it just looks like one consistency, one color. And I think the yolks are gone, so it seems pretty well mixed. And now you add your dry ingredients. And again, this is the baking soda, baking powder, and cinnamon. And this is the coconut flour. And you incorporate that into your mixture. I'm going to start with a whisk, but I do have a handy dandy spatula to clean the sides. I always like to use a spatula once I add my dry ingredients to the rest of the mixture, because when I'm putting it in the bowl and when I'm mixing in the dry, as you can see, it all starts to stick to the side. To get it all incorporated, I like to slide it off the sides and make sure I have a good mixture in there. And I like to kind of go around the sides like that and just make sure that all the dry ingredients are mixed in really well. I have a greased baking pan. It calls for an 8.5 by 4.5 baking dish. Not exactly sure if that's the exact size, but that is a loaf of bread type pan, so that's what I'm using. And once you have this all mixed together, you pour it into your pre-greased pan here, and this is pre-greased with coconut oil spray. I bought the Pam spray. And by the way, the oven's preheated to 350, and this will bake for 50 minutes. So you pour that in, and this is why I like the spatula towards the end. Just feel like you can really scrape all of your ingredients out of there. Okay, so now we have the bread ready, and you have to make the topping to make this the crumb coffee cake. And what it calls for, what I have in this bowl are my dry ingredients. I have 4 tablespoons of softened grass-fed butter at room temperature, or you could use coconut oil. I'm choosing butter today. This is 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar, 2 tablespoons of almond flour, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. It also calls for a 1/4 cup of pecans, halved or chopped, crushed, chopped, whichever you want to call it. We are omitting the pecans like I've said. Basically what you're going to do here, you get all your dry ingredients ready. Please disregard my nails, by the way. And you add your butter to it, or coconut oil, and it says mix by hand. I'm going to start with a spoon and we'll go from there. I'm not a huge mix by hand person, but you will have to. It's going to make little crumbs. But I'm going to coat my butter a little bit with all the dry ingredients first before I get my hands in there. Kind of make it a little less wet. Take my wedding ring off. Alright, I think I can get in there now. Shaking off any excess. Sorry for the loud noise. Alright, now you get your hands in there, it says, and mix it together. And then it's supposed to look like chunks, but it looks like a lot of mushy stuff. So then you just place this on top, spread it around on top of the bread for like crumbs. And I don't know, this is the first time I've made this, and so far I feel like this is really wet. It just said to mix it together and it's supposed to be crumbs, but I guess it's supposed to be wet like this. And I'll show you here in a minute what the top of it looks like with all of this added. Maybe with the pecans it's less mushy. Just make sure I get everything nice and covered here. Alright. Wash off my hands really quick. And I will show you guys the bread. This is the first time, on a side note here, that I've cooked with this coconut sugar. And again, this is paleo, so if I didn't say it, everything is organic, grass-fed if possible. I use this organic coconut sugar. And this is something, from what I understand, I've read about, that you can use the same ratio, 1-to-1, complete ratio. You can completely use it instead of cane sugar when you're baking. It has a lower glycemic index, less calories, so this is an option if you are trying to cut out some of your sugar in baking and you're not doing paleo. Just on a side note, coconut sugar, it also can be added to drinks. So we're going to be testing this out, and I'll get back to you guys on how we like it. Alright, so the bread is ready to go into my 350-degree oven with the crumb topping on top there, and I will show you what it looks like when I get it out. And again, it will cook for 50 minutes or longer if it comes out and I pull a toothpick out and it still has cake on it, then obviously I would cook it longer. So, alright, I'll be back when it's finished cooking, guys. I'm going to get it in the oven. Okay, here's the finished bread. You can see the crumb topping on the top. Kind of didn't really turn into crumbs like typical coffee cake, but what it did, I cut a slice here. It kind of sunk into the cake like that for flavor, and you can see there it sunk in, if you can kind of tell, throughout the whole cake like that, and kind of made just kind of a little bit of a crispy topping there. So yeah, I will let you know how it tastes. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye, guys.